If I was 18 today,
did you go to college?
And this is coming from someone who has a degree. But knowing what the market requires now.
Would you bring the debt of college today, knowing all the different options you have that don't always require a college degree?
So I'll tell you this. If I was 18 today with the same mindset I had at 18.
No, you have your mindset today. You don't have that. You're different.
Well, no, is it? I mean, it is different. But what I'm saying, what I was going with that mindset, that hustle, that hustle has never left me.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So that hustle has been since God knows when. So if I still had that, then I'm be like, I can make it. I'm gonna be fine.
Right.
In this day and age, with what I got going on, just knowing I'm gonna be all right. I probably wouldn't want that burden, but I probably would be curious to see what it's like.
Welcome to another episode of Not Your Average Aunties podcast. I am Joe.
I'm Key.
And I'm Jay, your residential sommelier. Practicing homesteader.
There you go.
My own greens growing in my yard.
Oh, you gonna get some chickens?
No, I don't know about the livestock yet. I don't know about the livestock yet. You might just go back to being vegetarian.
I know that's right.
But gotta start somewhere, so yeah.
No, that's right.
All right. What new things are you guys working on? What are you guys trying to adopt in this current environment?
Right now, I'm just trying to keep my head above water. What? That's you above water. I'm not trying to keep my head, period. Yeah, I'm just trying to keep my head, period. Like, I try not to do anything that doesn't bring me peace and joy. So that's my focus.
Yes.
But I will say I was going to get back into my garden because, I used to do that and I abandoned it. Mm-hmm. And it ain't happening this year either. I thought, but
it's not too late. You can start it whenever you want to. There's no timing.
You're right.
There's no timing.
It probably ain't going to happen this year.
Okay.
Because it's just,
I'm trying to be more intentional this year. Like, it's like my first year, I was like, okay, peppers and the tomatoes, and then
that was good though.
It was good. And then last year I was like, try some cucumbers. I had 1 or 2, okay. But this year I was really doing my research, getting some things together, starting about my little greenhouse, starting my little seedlings.
It's an accomplishment.
Just put them outside.
All that.
Yeah. So I got some nice tomato plants, peppers, of course, and my herbs.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
The only thing I did, and it was not outside, it was only in my house, was scallions.
That's good.
And because they're easy, because you can just take the regular scallions and you can continue to grow them, right?
Yeah.
So I did that and I've used that.
Okay.
But beyond that, I have not done, and I only did that twice, and I didn't keep it going.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So once I used them, I could have easily taken, put in another thing.
Once you harvest them, they're supposed to grow back.
Yeah, but you got to change out the water. And I had it in water.
Yeah.
So when you do that, and I didn't, and I started looking at the water started looking funny. I said, shit, throwing this shit out. I ain't want no funny looking water, funny looking scallions. I was like, this is done. So it was it's as in anything you do,
right?
It's consistency.
Yes.
If you don't have the consistency, it stops.
Yeah.
Right. And then you don't achieve the things that you're trying to. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what happened to me. So so that's what
fruitful one this year. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And I will share the wealth, of course. I can't eat all the stuff that I'm gonna.
I'll be ready for it. But apart from that, too, going about bringing things that bring me joy, I may, and if I announce it here, then maybe I might have to do it. I don't know, but I might be looking at getting back into running again. Perhaps we'll see.
Okay. All right,
we'll see.
We'll see. Listen. You try and try again.
Yeah,
that's it.
It ain't I ain't doing a marathon again.
No, whatever it is, you try and you try again, and if you want to, and I'm gonna keep trying this damn garden thing because the way this world is shaking out to be, man. Listen, grocery prices is too expensive.
Well, not only that, if you're growing it, you know what's in it.
Right.
Because right now they have those genetically modified everything.
Yeah.
And we don't know what we're consuming. Yeah. And half that stuff, the GMO stuff, could be cancer causing. We're exposed to carcinogens everywhere.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know.
I mean, even with the garden, you have to be concerned about those things too. But listen, gotta start somewhere. So here we go. So now that we talked about some of the things that we're bringing joy to ourselves, what are we getting into today's topic about?
We are supposed to be talking about college teachings And do we think education is necessary now, or is it shift to Asian? Yes.
Higher education, yeah. So do we think
2-year, 4-year,
college?
beyond that?
College.
Yeah.
Will you be successful only if you attend college?
Yes.
No,
Is it still worth it?
it can be.
I agree. So here's my take on that. It depends on what you consider success. Because if you want to be a successful doctor, dentist, surgeon, etc., I better take your ass to college. You better
Don't be like that nurse. They don't say that she was a nurse and no damn credentials. Or it was either she said she was being a nurse and didn't have no credentials, or there was some school giving her certifications and she didn't even go to step foot in the class.
I don't want nobody practicing.
Don't be one of those people.
No. And the thing is, I was going to make a statement saying I don't want anybody practicing on me that hasn't gone to school. But the reality is, if we want to keep it a buck,
Practicing on you anyway.
right? They're practicing on you anyway, especially when you're in those inner cities, in those
Residential doctors coming in.
It's not just like in the cities. That's at all hospitals when they do their residency.
Yeah, residency. That's what it is.
yes, and there's teaching hospitals and all that. I get that. What I'm getting at for the inner cities and those hospitals that are particular, I'm gonna speak for like, I don't want us to get sued or anything like that, but let's just say the hospitals that are in the Bronx.
And we've been in with them, so we know.
There's a couple.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
3 that I could think of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Some of you watching and who know us know.
You know. And if you don't, and you in the Bronx, New York, on Grand Concourse
on Morris Avenue.
or 233rd Street, you're going to know these hospitals, right?
Right.
And I say all that to say, because those hospitals that are in less affluent areas, they're not going to bring on those top doctors. The top doctors go to top hospitals.
Yeah.
And I only know this because I literally just had this conversation with my GYN. Because I had a theory. It was a conspiracy theory. But I always had this thing, like when I lived in the Bronx and we would have to take the kids to certain hospitals or whatever, and even the hospital I was born into, and later had to go there when my mother-in-law was sick. It's just so...
It's disheartening.
It's disheartening because when you've been exposed to better hospitals and you see how you're treated, and then you see how the folks are treated down there, it makes me sick to my stomach. So then I said, I wonder if, and this is why I asked the doctor, I said, if you get better grades and do better in school on that test, is it safe to say that you will be accepted or perhaps being able to work at a better hospital, case in point, like a Greenwich hospital or any other hospital, whatever zip code that's affluent? And he said, absolutely.
Yeah.
You get a better, he was like, absolutely. There's no question. He's like, you get a better grade, you go into a better hospital. The ones that you could pass the exam, but you have a less chance going to
The top.
the top. You're going to go to this one, which means this is what you're getting. Now, it takes a lot to be a doctor and all that stuff. I get that. But it's just the way they treat people.
Yeah.
The bedside manners suck. That's what I'm saying. But I say all that to say, if you are going to school for that, you need that.
There are certain jobs in fields
You have to go to
school where you go into college and beyond, because it's not even just college. So after college, there's medical school. There's what's the other schools? What's the other place? Dentist. There's other schools beyond your 2 or 4 year
4 year degree. You got to get a 4 degree.
4 year degree that you have to go to. So you're continuously learning.
Yeah.
And even after you've got your degree and you're now practicing, you're continuously learning, because I was going to ask a question about that specific situation that you just discussed. So in beyond getting the grades to get into a top hospital, these doctors get on boards, they go practice and learn other things, they continuously experiment to improve results of either a medication or
that's a different research.
but they add that on to their credentials, and that qualifies them to be actually into these better hospitals too. Because I also went to, when I moved up here and I was exploring new doctors, there was one doctor I specifically wanted because of her credentials, what I researched, what her ratings were, but she mostly specialized for certain things, for that type of care. It was GYN doctor, but her focus was really not just on the regular everyday annual exams and stuff like that. She was into, I guess, research and solutions for other things that you find when you are a woman.
Okay.
And also you want a doctor. Yeah. So she wasn't seeing the everyday patients, so I couldn't get that doctor. But to your point, not necessarily to your point, but you know, you're going to get into a different type of hospital based off of your grades and credentials and stuff like that. So I wanted to ask, I would think that adding on those other things to not just your degree and your certifications, but your research credentials, if you're traveling abroad and learning other things, is going to also afford you the ability to be in those top-notch hospitals too.
I mean, I didn't ask him that, but possibly.
Yeah.
How the conversation came up was, I said, I know there's a considerable amount of people that come from other countries that have practice. They were a doctor, let's say in Haiti. They were a doctor in DR. They're a doctor in any outside of the US. But then when you come here, you can't just be a doctor here.
No.
Right? You have to go and get your certifications and go back to school and all that stuff. So we got to talking about that. And then asked him the question about, you know, the grading. You know, you can pass the exam, but it depends on how high. This is because you want to pass with the highest as you possibly can. So then we started talking about, okay, so how do those individuals from other countries, they come over? It must feel a little bit disheartening here, because when you was practicing in your other country, but then you come here and it's like you got to start from the bottom again. And he was even telling me, he was like, there are some people that, you're absolutely right, come from other countries, and I know this to be true, and then they may work at a hospital and they're like the janitor or what. You get what you can get, right? Or they have to start, or they're in North Dakota because they couldn't get to New York. But that's what after they went to school and all that stuff, they ended up having to go to, he says, a location that you don't even want to be in, but you're able to practice.
It's funny. It was a sick. Oh, go ahead, Joe.
It's funny though. People that's coming from other countries and they were practicing. It's funny that sometimes they may be more experienced in the education that was given here, because there was a movie that I watched. And it just portrayed how it's real life, where this guy was a doctor, a prominent doctor in his country, but he's driving a cab here, and they needed him to do a special surgery that only he in his country and has never been done here specialized in. And they needed him to perform and it just made me think that there's so many people that come from other countries are doing that have the below the maintenance, the driving the cabs, the working in the kitchen, when they should be in a hospital, because they probably would know more or be able to teach us something more than what we've learned here.
They may have the experience. So then I asked them, this is another question I did ask him. So I said, okay, is it, because my thing was, okay, so if you've already had practice in your country and you've already have your degree, then is it the fact that in the US is just our teachings and our degrees trump yours? And he's actually said, it's the opposite. No, he was like, he didn't say it's opposite. He said, actually, you can learn some things here. He said the difference is, he was like, yes, in my country, I practiced for years. He was like, I've done thousands of C-sections, thousands of delivering babies and complicated surgeries and stuff like that. And he said, so you do get the experience. He said, but things are taught differently here. So there is some element of things where you can learn. Yes. That's right. So that's fine. Yeah. So his thing was, because he had a similar situation where he was a resident. I forget what year, if he was third year, what, I don't know. Or he wasn't in attending, but he was a resident when he first came. He's been doing this for over 40 years now. And he was just like, something happened. The woman, she gave birth, but she was bleeding out. Okay. So at the time, the doctor who was taking care of her, he raced out and he's like, does anybody know how to do whatever surgery it was? It was some special surgery to prevent her from dying. And my doctor was like, I could do it. I'm done. And he says, the other doctor's like, are you sure? But he was frantic because he needed help with this. So he was like, I've done it a lot back home. So he did it, boom, bam, done. So they were impressed, right? So he says, in situations like that, he was like, had I not done that, he probably maybe the trajectory of my career would have been different. He says, because once I did that and it was successful, and he says, and he said, I did it, whatever type of surgery it was, he was like, he named it, I can't recall what it was. And he was like, she was good after it was done. And the fact that the doctor has saw him do it, he received all the praises. And it propelled his career. Right? And this is why he always says, I'm always counting my blessings, because he knows, he says, from where I come from and the type of life I was able to build here in America, that would not be the case. He says, I have peers that it just doesn't happen that way. It just doesn't happen that way. And it doesn't take away, to your point, of what they're capable of doing. So he says, it's not as easy as just come go to school here and you automatically gonna work at the best house. That's not the way it goes.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's a hustle.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta really do it. So we were just having we were talking for 45 minutes before he examined me. And then even so I was like, don't you have the patience?
He was enjoying that.
But we got a good
teaching. Yeah.
Yeah, and we also have a good connection because of what happened with me delivering my last kid and being in ICU and all that stuff. So for him, he will always say, you're one that, because it could have been a bad situation. So he'll never forget. I know we'll never forget each other.
Right.
So we were talking and I was just learning. It was a lot to learn through that conversation. But I say all that to say this, like going back to the topic, for stuff like that, you need to go to school.
Yeah.
You need that applied application of whatever you learned in school to actually put it to action, right? Yeah. And then you need several years of that, because sometimes the things you learn in the books, shit goes awry, and you got to be able to think on your feet quickly. Like I have a huge respect for doctors and nurses and all of that, but those emergency room doctors,
Yeah.
those emergency room nurses,
You don't know what's coming through that door.
you got to be so on it. Like I'm not saying I don't have a respect for the nurse in oncology or the nurse, in pediatrics. I have a respect for all of them.
Like a routine type of situation.
Yeah, but that emergency situation, anything, and you got to be on it. Like that takes a special type of intellectual capacity and recollection to know, okay, this is this, that's that. And then I was asking him, he was like, you know what? There's starting to be a shortage of people that want to do that because it's the harder thing to do.
Yeah.
So then where does that leave us as a country? In our healthcare, he said there's less people that go in school to want to practice this. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't want to do that because they don't have the easy shit.
Routine stuff.
Yeah.
You want I know this patient's coming in for this particular thing.
Yeah.
Cheat and match.
But you got to think about it. There's people that became doctors and nurses and things happened and they got sued. Or you looking at the downside to it, where things have happened where it didn't pan out the way they expected it to after spending all this money for the education. And their life didn't turn out the way they wanted it to.
Yeah. I mean, we could talk about doctors all day, but
I know there's certain fields and professions that needs education, but do you really think going to school 4 years and 8 years is it still worth it now?
it's
You can still be successful without a college degree.
absolutely. And companies are starting to see that.
Yeah.
They're not requiring. There are a lot of companies that, I won't say a lot, but there are companies that you had to have a degree to get a job. Some companies are seeing that you don't have to have a degree. Because to me, I feel like book and on-hand experience go hand.
No.
I think it goes hand. I say it goes hand in hand, meaning that you have to have some book knowledge. You have to have some on-hand experience. Everything can't be just book, and everything can't just be hands-on. So you have to have a combination of both. But there are skill sets where it is a lot of just on-the-job learning. And you can succeed at that. You can excel at that. And then it comes down to just the type of person you are. Are you a critical thinker? Are you a strategic thinker?
Critical thinking.
Right. So
That's real big.
Right. So education needs to be revamped in certain areas because there's a lot of things that you learn in school that you are not practicing in the real world.
and people go to school and they have degrees and they come out and they're not doing anything. They're not using it. They're not successful. People go to school for a certain thing and they do something different.
Yeah.
Yeah. It happens all the time.
Right. So it's not to say it's a bad thing, but I don't think it's always a necessary thing.
Yeah. I don't think so. If you want to be a successful businessman, do you have to go to Harvard? No. Do you have to go to college? No. There's plenty of people that I know that are extremely successful, entrepreneurs, they own business that like they're doing numbers.
Yeah.
Right. Some of them didn't go to school. Maybe they have like a 2-year degree and some of them just didn't. Right. There's people that are prominent that we know that have built major corporations, whether we can say Apple, we can say Microsoft. They dropped out of college. So, I mean, here's my thing to that. College ain't for everyone. That's number one.
Strong believer.
But somehow, some way in America, we've lost, our education is screwed. And but a lot of it is not just the Department of Ed, which is, if you let the current administration, they'll say that. A lot of it has to do with how we think as a people and how much emphasis we're putting on education as a people, right? So when I think about growing up, yes, going to college was stuffed down my throat. So I went to college, right? I graduated from college.
Retired.
That's what you do, right? So that's what, right? But everybody in my family didn't do that, right? So I could name on my one hand, like the amount of people that actually graduated and did that. But that doesn't mean other people in my family ain't successful, right? It's success is dependent upon what you believe success to be. So I just think as a whole, I'm going to just speak to the Black community. I'm not even going to talk about the rest of the population. We don't do enough about education, period. Now, it does not have to do, what I mean by that is making sure that that is something that is embedded in our children. Like, I don't care whether you go to college or not, you got to keep educating yourself.
Right.
We don't do enough of that. And we're too lax.
Stay curious, stay wanting to know, stay learning.
Right. But this is why
Whatever medium or
any medium. And this is why a lot of times other ethnicities, they supersede us, because I'm talking about Black Americans. Let me just be clear. Because if you talk to somebody who's from Caribbean, they're big on healthcare. Let me get some nurse. Let me do this, or the doctor track, or the lawyer, but mostly in healthcare, right? So depending on what background you have, but it's not enough. We're not emphasizing enough, and as a result of that, we're so far behind. It's sad. It's horrific when you think about comparing us to others. We're too focused on the wrong shit,
right? And
then we think, oh, I don't need education, or I don't need college. Okay, maybe you don't need college, but maybe you need to take your ass to a trade school, or maybe you need to do, or you don't need college, but you don't have that hustle, that innate, that hustle, that ability to be like, I don't need this, but I'm about to get this.
You putting all my talking points.
No, right? No, keep on. I only had two things, and I said about, but it's just coming to me. But it's the truth, though.
It is.
Like, you got to, if you don't want to go, you just got to have the hustle. And what I'm not seeing within Gen Z, enough of y'all, some millennials, and hell, even Gen X, some of us, because we tend to have those traditional ways. A lot of us do, right? Of this is what you do, right? I'm not seeing that hustle. And we got this whole thing, oh, I don't want to be able to hustle, and I don't want to work too. Well, nothing easy is going to come to you. You have to work for it.
Put in some level of effort to see the results that you are hoping to say. Nothing's going to be just handed out to you on a silver.
Nothing worthwhile comes easy like that.
No, nothing at all.
No.
So I have a question. I just had this conversation last night with someone. And he was saying traditionally that parents used to set their goals for the kids on where they should go to college and what they should do as they get older, and this is the profession you're going to go into.
Yeah, based off of their own
yes. And a question came up. His granddaughter's mother is more open to listening to the child to find out what they want to do as a career path. And he's like, why are we giving them that option? Why are we not forcing them or telling them that this is where you're going, this is what you're going to do, and that's the end of it? Do you believe in that?
I don't believe in that.
Yeah. And this is where I said I didn't agree with him on it. And I mean, it was a nice discussion. I don't think they should force it on you. Yeah.
Well, there should be a conversation of understanding what it is that your child aspires. Yeah. What are your child's aspirations? And then having that conversation and helping them figure out the path they should probably take to achieve it. So, and college is not always that path.
Yeah.
So
he was looking more of it in terms of, let's say the parents are a doctor and lawyer, and you're saying that this is a field you're going to go into because this is how you're going to be able to sustain a successful life and make the money that you need in these two fields. But you're not looking at, maybe the child is looking at you and you may have had a successful life, but they weren't happy.
The child wasn't happy because,
well, the parents wasn't happy with what they were doing. They was just doing it because that was their way of making money.
Yeah.
Suppose the child sees that and doesn't want to go into that field. You can't force them to go to school, because then now they're going to drop out, or they're going to go and wind up doing something else, because that's not the direction they wanted to go. They did it.
You didn't
to appease the parents.
Yeah, you didn't show them in a positive way that I did this job. In this job, I was happy in this job, and by doing this job and being happy in this job yielded me this. I was doing this job, it yielded me this, but I'm not happy. So how is that gonna? That's not a positive experience.
Yeah.
I just think I don't believe, and I know this happens particularly. I always say default to the Caribbean culture or any culture that's not Black American. Let me take that back. Unless you come from old elitist Black American.
Yes.
Then it's different, like the Jack and Jills of the world, the old guards and the links and all that stuff, right? When you coming from that era,
that's their path.
Like the more elitist, then they will be the ones to be like, no, you got to do this, right? Because there's the certain expectation.
Yeah. And the ones on the opposite end who didn't have that experience, they're not gonna shove that down your throat. It's gonna go get a job.
Yeah.
any job.
I think I feel like it's as a parent, you're supposed to help steer the kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. But you're not supposed to be like, this is what you need to do.
Right.
No, this is what you're going to do.
So this is what you're gonna do, right? Because for all the reasons that you said, like it can just be a bad outcome. Now, I know historically growing up, but it sounded like to me it comes from like the older type of mindset, because you know. Historically, a lot of times you hear what your parents say and you just do it to appease them, but you're just miserable. You may like the checks that you get, you know, you may like the lifestyle that it affords you, but you're not fully fulfilled. Or you may just do it for the checks and whatever, you do just enough, but that don't mean you at the top of your game in your field either, right? So, because you don't love it.
Yeah.
So I just don't believe in that. I believe in, we're all born with gifts, and we should be able to really figure out what those gifts are, and then that's what we give back to the world, right? That's my piece to it. But I know there's historical reasons why people feel that way. If I'm a doctor and this is what you do, you know, because they only want the best for their kid.
And I mean, yeah, because they know what it provided for them.
Yeah.
So they like you said, they only want the best for their kids. If you had to go back in time and you were 18 today, would you go to college? Go back to college?
18 today.
If you were 18 today, would you go back to college? Would you go to college rather versus none?
Oh, you already know I would have went into the military. That's what I'm.
Oh, that's right. You did say military.
I wanted to learn to fly planes. I wanted to be in the Air Force.
If I was 18 today,
did you go to college?
And this is coming from someone who has a degree. But knowing what the market requires now,
would you bring the debt of college today, knowing all the different options you have that don't always require a college degree?
So I'll tell you this: if I was 18 today with the same mindset I had at 18,
no, you have your mindset today. You don't have that. You're different.
No, is it? I mean, it is different. But what I'm saying, what I was going with that mindset, that hustle has never left me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So that hustle has been since God knows when.
Yep.
So if I still had that, then I'm be like, I can make it. I'm gonna be fine.
Right.
In this day and age, with what I got going on, you know, just knowing I'm gonna be all right. I probably wouldn't want that burden, but I probably would be curious to see what it's like.
Going to college affords you other opportunities too, and cultural experiences, friendships that you probably would not have made had you not went to this certain institutions or not. So there's always pros and cons to everything, right? So certain jobs or fields you want to go into, you have to do college.
Absolutely.
Other fields that you can go in, you don't necessarily have to do college. You can certifications and trade schools. You can still be very successful, earning lots of money as well.
Agreed.
And without that high tuition or that student
Absolutely.
that you have to pay.
Exactly. Yeah.
But there's also the skill sets, the technical skills, the communication skills, the social, all those other skills that you can get. Don't necessarily, you can get them from college, but you don't have to get them from college.
You know.
And people walk away with college and they still don't have those skills. They still not marketable. They still don't know how to sell themselves, go into an interview and be successful. And they'll wind up like, what did I do all this for? Sometimes
because they're book smart, right? So they got the grades, but a lot of
that's the other thing.
So right, the grades, right?
No, the book smart or no comments.
Yeah, I know. That's the other thing. So the thing that I have when I talk about like American education, it sucks because some of the things that you will learn in a affluent high school, a high school that's in an affluent area, I should say, the right zip code, you'll learn a lot of the things between those kids are learning between 9 and 12 that people in colleges are just, and I'm talking about not the Ivy League college. I'm talking about the community or a B school, C school, whatever.
Yeah.
They're just starting to, but these college prep schools or schools within the right zip code, they're already teaching these kids this, and it's not, you're getting that education because you live in the right zip code. If you live in the wrong zip code, you're not even getting that. Like, they're teaching these kids, what's it called? Social emotional learning, right? They're getting, so SEL, they're getting that starting in kindergarten. So they understand how to use their words, understand how to process their emotion and talk about their feelings and talk about when somebody, so you just don't, if Johnny does something to you, don't just dump Johnny in the throat because you're angry. You'd say, no, Johnny hurt my feelings when he did X, right? So that's at the kindergarten level. level, right? In the first grade level. And then they're teaching them how to, the public speaking skills. So when they come out and they come to get an internship at a bank or at a tech company,
Right.
they know how to hobnob and interact with staff, and they don't feel less than, they don't feel inferior because this person is a manager or whatever, because they're so used to debating with their teachers and someone of this stature, or because maybe their mommy and daddy, again, you write zip code, they're around that element. So it becomes natural, whereas you get a kid that's from an inner city that's still intellectually sound, but because they weren't taught that public speaking, they tend to be more insular, right? So my point is, where I have an issue with it is that if you were born in or you live in the wrong zip code, you're going to have a less than education unless your parents help to supplement, because you cannot rely just on the school. And that's too much of us just say, go to school, done, and you don't supplement that. And we don't do enough of that, and it really drives me crazy. And I'm passionate about it because I can see the chasm opening up wider and wider from the poor and uneducated versus the people that have money, and it's just getting wider and wider. And I know you just layer on that AI, baby, and a lot of us are fucked. We screwed.
Done.
We're screwed. We're done. And I see it, and it saddens me because it's like, dude, okay, you don't want to go to school, but if you're scrolling on your phone, you on YouTube, there's so many different ways you can educate yourself. But here we are talking about baddies, and here we are talking about this person was fighting, and here we are talking about Shannon Sharp and his bullshit. We're talking about so many different things, the wrong shit. That's what drives me crazy.
But that goes back to, if that's all you're talking about, that's what you're going to teach your kids, because that's what your parents taught you. It goes back. So if that's all 2, 3 steps up above you, that's all they were thinking about, stuff that was not critical or helpful in your ability to be successful outside of the 4 walls of your apartment, or what you may have or may not have learned in elementary school, post higher education, then it's going to keep trickling down. You got it. It's like change. It's going to keep going down and down. It does.
And it sucks because you're right. It starts with the parents too. And a lot of us and their parents, we're just not, and I'm not even talking about just our generation, Gen X. A lot of us, we're not doing that. I see people to talk, like if I say, oh, in the summertime, I'm giving my kids, they got book reports to give. They go to summer school. No, they don't got to, they're like, oh, your kids didn't get to the next grade. They go to, no, they ain't in summer school. They go into my summer school of Shakira. Right. These kids got to learn, damn it. So I would give them book reports. They got book reports, and then they were like, well, how do you know if they could just write anything? Because I read the book too. So that's the thing. Like, I would take time. We're gonna read Ice Fire, whatever the fuck I did, the whole trilogy, and then I would read it and be like, oh, this to me, oh, this is good, but this is dumb. But hey, right. When I get that book report, I bet it not be because my kids are smart. They be like, and they're elaborate stories. That ain't got shit to do with this book. What you talking about? I love your imagination, but because I would give them answer questions. You read this shit. So, but my point is to keep the mind stimulated, like keep it going, keep thinking out of the box.
They were smart enough to write down an elaborate story, not what the book was about.
One time at a time.
They had a story to tell. They told
She fired. But it sucks. I get, the more I see the generations, and I know every generation probably was having this conversation with my husband the other day. I was like, each generation probably says this. We know the boomers were saying that about us. Right. Oh, you guys are doomed, what's this music y'all listening to? All that stuff, right? But
it's not all Gen X.
It's not.
There are some that are out there. They're very outgoing. They're thriving. And some of them, they're not even choosing the path of college. They're doing things that, I'm not going to knock this influencer game out here right now. They getting paid.
Listen.
Making money.
Disney. And that's the other thing. There's so many ways you can do it, but it does not come without consistency and grind. You still have to, there's your guy to put the work in.
And that's the thing.
We want, like I always say, we live in a microwave society. I want my money right now. I done posted 2 reels. What's up? Where my likes and my followers? Where's my money?
Your followers.
Why I ain't got my money? But it don't work that way, right? But thinking outside of the box, doing different things that's going to enable you. It's easier. One can argue it's a little bit easier and also harder. And here's what I'm going to say. Because you can make money online, but it's starting to get less harder for you to go get that job at, let's say, Mickey D's. Or when I'm talking about the younger generation, or the Chick-fil-A, or,
the skill sets they're requiring are much different.
It's when we were growing up, I remember when I used to work at a record store, walked in there, right on 33rd, and walked up in there. They had help, and I just walked in, and then came out with a job.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Can't do
all of the days.
It's very far few in between.
Yeah, very few hiring.
Very few in between. So it's a little bit different. But on the flip side, we didn't have the phones where we could just be like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go to this website called WAP, not the Cardi B shit, but WAP, and I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna see there's people that's gonna pay me to just take snippets of their videos and me create another social media platform and just push it out there. And the more I push it out, the more views I get paid. I didn't even create those videos. I did a couple of reels and I could get paid. Like, it's just different ways you can make money. You just gotta be hustling and on it
and learning and just continuously learning, because those are the things that's gonna expose you to all the different opportunities. Because if you just take that one thing, like you said, if they take that one thing and think that's it, they're not the only one doing that. And then there's gonna be another next thing out there, and they stuck over here with this one thing because they think I'm golden now.
Yeah.
But there's always something else out there. So you have to continuously be curious and be consistent.
Yeah. So my takeaway is this: don't discount college. Figure out what's your vibe.
Yeah.
Right. What's gonna work for you? What you like to do, and encourage, and don't be afraid to seek out and if there's somebody that's doing a job that's of interest to you, talk to them and ask them. Don't be afraid. Be like, hey, talk to me about what you do. If they want to be an asshole, and because sometimes you may reach out to somebody and they could be all pompous and looking down on you. All right, well then tell them to go fuck themselves and go to find somebody else, right? So don't do
it's
that.
not that simple. Because listen, people's time is valuable, right?
Yeah. So I know it's not that simple.
People's time is valuable. So when you are seeking that experience or that knowledge that this person may have, you have to make them want to be able to share with you. So you have to be very creative, and you have to show true interest.
Show true interest, but sometimes you get people like most people like to talk about themselves, right? Most people.
Yes.
So if you butter them up and be like, hey, tell me about what you do. You know, what do you do? I'm trying to figure out. And even if you approach them, I'm talking about the 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds, 17 to 24, 25. But like, you know, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do in my life. But what you do, you work at a bank, or what you do, you work at a tech firm. What you do, you're a teacher. You know, talk to me about what your day-to-day is. Like, those are the conversations that these 17, 18-year-olds and plus needs to be having. Not for nothing. And organizations like the Jack and Jills and all those more elitist Black organizations, they would have, not conventions, I'm failing on the word, but basically settings. I can't think of the word, but
they have like
conferences, where they would bring in different people. Well, they not even bring in, these are people that were already in Jack and Jill. They were coming back like alumni and saying, okay, hey, I'm a banker. Hey, I'm a financial analyst. Hey, I'm an engineer in this tech company or for Apple. Let me tell you about my day to day. And those kids, because they were already groomed within Jack and Jill, the expectation was when you speak to them, you better have about 5 questions.
Right.
Ready.
That's what I'm saying. People's time is valuable. If you're not prepared and you're not showing interest, and you take their time, and walk away and do nothing with the information they gave you,
absolutely,
that makes them like, I don't.
They didn't want to be bothered. Right. So you got to be prepared, but ask the questions, because I still feel to some degree, I don't know whether this has changed, but at 17 years old, where you have to declare, even on colleges now, they make you do it in your major in like year 2, but going in, you have to figure out what you want to do. And that's like, you're a 17-year-old, like you don't know unless somebody, to your point, your friend is beating your head, you better be a doctor, you better be a lawyer. You don't know what the hell you want to do.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so, but my thing is just ask the questions, like figure it out, or else if you don't, you're going to be 50 years old talking about, what I want to do in my life.
To his point, the 13 or 14-year-old is not going to know what they want to, so why are you letting them decide? You're supposed to decide it for them.
So the 13 or 14-year-old is different from a 17 and 18.
And it's still even comes to the 13 and 14.
But it's my point is that short 4-year gap.
Yeah.
It's a different person. You're not the person. So my thing is, you don't tell them.
Right.
You help shape them by giving them the resources so that they can make the decision. Case in point, like, I'm not a big fan of the Jack and Jill that's a whole nother conversation, but there's certain things that they did within the Black community that I could put, I'm like, yeah, I agree with that shit. You know what I'm saying? So things like I just said.
Like in planting the seed. Basically.
Yeah. Yes. So that you can give these kids, because otherwise they wouldn't have an opportunity to learn, oh, this person's a mechanical engineer at I was gonna say Yahoo, not Yahoo, whatever, Google, you know, well, this person is, you know, an ocular whatever at Meta or something, right? So learning, like, it gives you wouldn't even have met those people. So just does give you insight.
Yes. You know? It's like having a conversation, finding out what their interests are. And if you have those connections, bridge the gap between those connections, but don't tell them this is what you got to do.
Yeah, I believe in
you. Show interest in this. And their interest, they like like you said, between 14 and 15 and 17 and 18, their interests will definitely change. Or may not change. They may still want to be that doctor, lawyer, whatever it is they want to be. But if you bridge the gap between their interests and people who are already in those fields and they have those conversations, that's planting the seed and maybe pique their interest even further, where they will stay on the course that you are trying to have them go anyway.
Agreed. And because here's my other thing. There are people that there's a place for everybody.
Yeah.
Right? So the same person that's pushing down doctor, lawyer, you need the creatives. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a creative person, but you do need the creatives. You need the person that's going to be the singer, the pianist, the artist, because that same person's after the lawyer. When you going on take your ass on a date, you may want to go to the art museum, right? So you need that stuff.
Yeah.
So don't push one thing on one kid when they may have something else that they could be brilliant at, that you can put that fire under them to really soar in that area, right? So that's my take.
And I would like to also say that we're not trying to diminish or down like blue collar work,
Absolutely not.
domestic
Absolutely
stuff
not.
like that, because
It's a place
those
for everybody.
people are successful in their way and what they're doing.
Absolutely.
As well. And some of them are doing far better than some people with those college degrees. They're doing things that people think a college degree allows them to have.
Case in point, the same person that's a bus driver, like there was a thing, last year or 2 years ago where the woman was, I ain't dating no bus driver. Meanwhile, there could be a bus driver or a post office worker or a policeman or whoever that owns 10 doors.
Yep.
10, you know what I'm saying? But you ain't one day in his ass, right? But
You see him
because he's
every day.
because he's doing like this, trying to turn that bus wheel around the corner.
You ain't even get to know him, but you don't even know trying to turn that bus wheel, right?
But you ain't get
But even if he done, even if he don't, you should be well traveled. You
don't know.
He still have a good conversation. He could still be well educated. Exactly. He chose it. He loves to do it, and he said, hustle at it. That's his definition of success.
And
or writers or whatever.
And it may not even be the field that he chose. It could have been circumstances that just put him there, and that's what he got. But he still knew it.
Get the best of it and doing a damn well job.
And because he knew there's more. I got more for this world, or the world got more for me than just me doing like this at the bus.
He just that was going to sustain.
No, they dumped them weird, man.
They big. Go ahead. You gotta. I just read like this.
I couldn't right. Let me like this. I remember, but
No, you got some of them that be whipping it, so don't.
Yeah.
I'm not struggling.
I'll let me one. Not my short.
but my point is, like, don't be putting down people. We tend, a lot of people tend to do that so much, and it just, I laugh at it.
Yeah.
Because and the reason why I laugh at it is because I've seen not having money, I've seen having money, then I've seen true wealth where I'm watching other people that got real money, and then I watched how within their realm with their real money, how their peers look at them, and it's the same thing like with the black folk. You think it's not different from the white folk? It's the same. That they got money, but then they're judging, like who's got more, who's got this, and and I find it so funny. Like I'm just like, it's just my observations. Like they go through the same. It's all the same bullshit.
Only difference is within our community, they don't want to share.
They keep you. What do you mean?
They get
Knowledge share.
that they don't know.
Knowledge share.
So I'm gonna challenge that.
No, I love you because you like.
That's your challenge.
No, not me. I'm not even telling about me. Actually, I'm not even gonna say that. But I do. I like to share. So I want everybody to win, right? Oh, I want people to win that wants to put in the work. Yeah. And I keep saying I want everybody. I do want everybody, but I realize that everybody can't win. It's just the reality of what it is. But I'd like to see the win. But I also know it takes work. But what I'm seeing now is that sharing is generational. Because Gen Z, we would talk, is that crab in the barrel type shit? I ain't sharing. But these Gen Xers, we do that, crab in the barrel. Gen Z, they're like, and some millennials, they're like, no. Let me tell you how you do this. You know what I'm saying? So, and I respect it because that's what I used to do. Like, oh no, don't do that. You should do it this way or whatever. But somehow in my gen, people look at me like, why would you do that? Because then she could be better. I'm not worried about if she could be better because I'm in my own zone.
Right. Yeah.
So in fact, if she does make it past, that's fantastic. I love it.
I contributed to that.
You know what I'm saying? I feel good about that. You know what I'm saying? But everybody don't see that way. I'm like, I'm not thinking about her. If me's giving her some, or her or him some help to level up, and they taking that's going to take away from me, that has nothing to do with me. I wish somebody would help me. I wish somebody would have gave it to, like, help me get that thing. I had to keep trying to get in certain rooms when I'm the only black person there, and try to like fucking, what did I say, ear hustle? Yeah. Give me like, oh, let me pay attention. Or when they had me in the room because they didn't think I was a threat. Meanwhile, I'm soaking all that shit. I'm like, oh, so that's how you do it. And I'm not listening to just what you say, but that's what plays into this. Okay. Now I go back. Let me tell you what happened. So because that's how we gotta learn. Yes. That's not gay. It's not.
That's
gay.
Even and like you said, in our
generation,
and in our race.
Yeah, it's stupid shit. Even down to like makeup. It's the dumbest shit ever. I'll be like, bitch, are you serious?
Yep.
Like,
they don't want to share.
I ain't got to.
But listen, whatever you decide to do, actually, we have some questions for the listeners. Actually, did you go to college? Did you get to go to college where you are now? No, sorry, start over.
Okay,
college help you get to where you are now.
Okay,
I can't. But we should answer that for ourselves. But the caveat is. So let's answer it for ourselves real quick.
Okay, I'm gonna say no.
It didn't help you.
College didn't help get to me where I'm at now. It was me. It's all my work experience has been primarily at one organization, an institution. It is my work ethic, my ability to stay curious and want to learn and want to grow within the job, learning on the job. Yeah, it's where it helped me get to where I'm now on the job.
Yeah,
I mean, college has some aspect of it because it taught you how to, think about things and structure things and strategize and stuff like that. But a lot of my learning has been on the job learning.
Yeah, so just same here. I was on the job for 10 years before I went back to college and finished. And I felt more of my experience came from hands-on because what they taught me in school, I had already known. And there was things that they did teach that I'm not even utilizing. So I had forgot. But for the most part, it's been more hands-on. So I don't think the education.
So I'm gonna say for me it's a little different. So when I think back of the roles that I was able to get in corporate America, I only got those roles. I wouldn't have gotten a shot at an interview had I not had a degree. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
Because back then it was required. So if you didn't have that degree, you're done.
Yeah.
So that's how I was able to get into the interview. Now getting the job is a whole nother. That was me, right? Yeah. But getting even the interview, you see in my resume, the degree helped, right? Yeah. 2 times I know that for a fact. But now things are shifting and changing. Yeah. So it's not necessarily it's less of a requirement. Even though there are still there's still some jobs that are listening like
you to have.
Yeah. But it depends on the job. Yeah. Like I said. But I know for a fact that had I not had a degree, it would have been a different hustle. I wouldn't have gotten the money. I just wouldn't have gotten to. It helped me to get the money, and then I kept going, and then I was using my own hustle to keep progressing. But if I didn't have that, I would have started at a lower rung. That I know.
Only 2 jobs. My education helped, but for the most part, they were looking for more experience than that.
Yeah. But I'm talking about just getting in
the door. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let us know if you have a degree. Did it help you, or did it help you to get you right today? Yeah.
Other question: would you push your kids towards college today? We already said we.
Well, I mean, so yes, I can't.
I would encourage it. I would encourage it, but it wouldn't be like you have to.
Right. Yeah. So that's what I say. I don't want to be a hypocrite because all my kids went to college. Whether all of them graduated, that's something different, right? So yes, I'm pushing, but I also I did push. I'm like, you got to get to that next level. Then when it became a situation of, okay, well, this person, this may not be for me. Yeah. I'm more open. Like, okay, well, let's figure out what's for you and make sure you got to hustle.
And that comes down to helping them figure out and navigate and figure out the best course for them, whatever their interests are. So I think those are the questions we have for you out there. Chime in, add your responses to the comments, hit us up on social media. So as we say, we're not your average auntie.
You're not your average auntie.
We had real talk, real laughs, and real auntie energy.
Peace, everybody.